Hey guys, welcome to today's video. I want to talk about something today that sounds like it may be a shot in the dark, but what I believe I have figured out about who Emu is, her abilities, the Gorosei abilities, and maybe even who the original JoyBoy was. Like I said, it's going to seem like a shot in the dark until we get about halfway through this video. This video has taken a lot of time and research to put together. I first started looking into different mythologies for this project. I almost gave up after looking for hours and still no answers that I thought were sound evidence. And then I stumbled upon something that made me believe I had found the answer of Emu and even JoyBoy. I was extremely excited. I felt like I had cracked Oda's mind for just a moment. But when I seen what I thought was the answer to my project about Emu and JoyBoy, it was an anagram, which an anagram is a word, phrase, or name formed by rearranging letters or another. But it wasn't exactly an anagram. It was close, but it was different. I felt like I needed more proof because the anagram was too random. So before I get to Emu and JoyBoy, I want to take a look at two other characters in One Piece that I looked into to see if I could find the same similarities in. I'm going to start with Luffy and his new abilities, mostly 5th gear. We found out that his devil fruit is actually called Hito Hito no Mi model Nika, or human fruit model Nika. I started thinking about what mythologies Nika could be. I started with Neja, mostly because I already knew that Neja was a deity that freed slaves and brought liberation of some sort in some of his stories. What I was looking for was a name that could be changed to make Nika to confirm my Emu theory. Neja definitely was not it. At least, not on the surface. I chose to stick with Neja and done some digging and found that Neja was based on two deities in mythology. Forgive me if I butcher some names. According to Mayor Shahar, Neja is ultimately based on two figures from Hindu mythology. The first is a Yaksha from the Ramayana named Nalakabar, the son of Yaksha king Kubera and nephew of the antagonist Ravana. The link to Nalakabar through variants in his Chinese name appearing in Buddhist sutras. The original variant, Nalu Jupolo, changed to Nalu Jubalo, Naja Jualo, and finally Naza. The simple addition of the mouth radical to Na changes the name to the current form Neja. The second figure is the child god Krishna. This is where I found my first bit of evidence that I could be on the right track for my Emu theory. If you take Krishna and remove the letters K, S, and H, you are left with K-I-N-A, which if you rearrange those letters, you get Nika. And that's why I said that it's an anagram, but it's different because we had to take letters away and it's not just rearranging letters. And not only that, later when I was pondering on this thought of Nika being derived from Neja, I thought about when Luffy was facing Kaido. He grabbed a lightning bolt that was striking and threw it at Kaido. And a spear is Neja's main weapon. Yes, I still was not completely convinced though myself. Even though this helped in my theory of Emu being a type of anagram, this led me to look into Kaido as well. The most well-known story of Neja is the story where he faces the Dragon King. The same rule applied with Kaido's name and the Dragon King. Remove RGN in the word dragon and the letters N and G from king, and rearrange the letters DAOKI, and you get Kaido. This made me feel even better about my emu anagram theory that I had stumbled upon. Now that I've accomplished a baseline of what I believe was proof for my theory, I went back to emu. I believe emu is an anagram for Shiwangmu. Remove the letters XWANG and you have literally IMU, emu, left in that order. With it taking almost all the letters out of the original name but 3 letters, you can see why I felt like I needed more proof. Because you could probably take a lot of words and remove letters to make another word. But considering the same rule applied for Nika and Kaido with Krishna and the Dragon King, I think it was safe to say that I could use this. But with the proof I had, I was even more sure of myself. And the further I looked into the goddess Shiwangmu, I was 100% certain I was correct at this point. According to mythology, Shiwangmu, or Queen Mother of the West, is one of the most ancient and powerful goddesses in the Chinese pantheon. She has complete control over life, death, creation, and destruction. She is married to the Jade Emperor. The Jade Emperor is one of the most important gods of the Chinese Taoist pantheon. Supreme god of Chinese folk religion, the Jade Emperor is ruler of all heavens. And Shiwangmu tends to the peaches of immortality in their palace gardens. She is the controller of the grindstones and the 5 shards constellations of the heavens. And why do I find this 5 shards constellations to be important? What 5 people follow emu? The 5 Gorosei. And going back to Shiwangmu, she is the highest ranking and most powerful female deity in the Chinese pantheon. She determines the lifespan of every living being, tends to the peaches of immortality, and manipulates the occurrences of major calamities, among other duties. And after reading that, I immediately went to chapter 1060, the last chapter that we had, when she completely erased an island from existence. And as far as we know, she is the ruler of the world and is the most powerful person that Luffy could face. Shiwangmu lives in a forested garden in the Jade Emperor's palace, together with nature spirits, magical beasts, and her ladies-in-waiting. In her free time, she tends to the peaches of immortality and other rare herbs and plants. Where's one place that we have seen emu multiple times? A garden in Marijois. Maybe this is the answer to her believed immortality by the fanbase. We don't know that she's immortal, but there's theories that go around that she is, and this mythology supports this if Oda used this mythology to create emu. I want to go back to the Gorosei for a moment. It is said that Shiwangmu was over the 5 shard constellations, which they represent the Gorosei here. She, in the name Shiwangmu, stands for the west. So the 5 shards are part of the western sky. And the 5 shards are also the 5 chariots, otherwise known as Ariga. It is a constellation that borders Taurus, the constellation. The constellation is named as such due to the 5 main stars representing the 5 celestial emperors. The constellation appears within the region of the sky dominated by the White Tiger of the West. Within the region of the White Tiger of the West, there are 7 mansions, which could possibly be a link to the 7 warlords. Which means that Oda has been most likely planning emu, the Gorosei, and all from the very beginning, because we've known about the 7 warlords for a really long time, since Alabasta. since before Alabasta. And the 5 chariots reside under the Net Mansion. All the emperors can also be represented by certain planets. For example, the Southern Emperor is often associated with the fire star, otherwise known as Mars. The Eastern Emperor is associated with the wood star, equivalent to Jupiter. Venus is associated with the Western Emperor, as Venus was known as the metal star. The metal star, known today as Mercury, is associated with the Northern Emperor. Lastly, the Emperor of the Center is represented by the Earth star, also known as Saturn. We also know that each of these planets' names are also gods of Roman mythology as well, and can point to the possible abilities of the Gorosei. But getting back to Imu, the western part of the sky is what she in the name Shiwangmu represents, as I said earlier. I decided to take a little deeper look into this western sky part. The white tiger, as mentioned before, represents the west. And if you look up what white tiger represents in the Chinese art and mythology, the white tiger symbolizes power and army. Let me say that again. Power and army. As far as we know, according to the Gorosei's actions, Imu is the absolute power in the world, and they follow her every order. So she has power, and she controls the largest what in the world, the world government and its armies. With all these things lining up with Shiwangmu and Imu, I knew my theory had to be correct. And one more thing about Imu. I believe she was the past lover or wife of the past JoyBoy. And I say this because Shiwangmu was the wife of the Jade Emperor. And what sits on the throne in Mary Jua? A straw hat, which we know is linked and tied to JoyBoy himself. So I believe they were once lovers and something happened to separate them. Maybe a conflict, maybe something come between them. Maybe she desired power when all he wanted was freedom. Because we know in the poneglyphs that JoyBoy apologizes for things. Did Imu do things to upset the balance of the world? Did she cause all these problems? Is Imu the reason why there is a void century? I believe that Imu has been alive for these past 800 years. Like I said in the mythology, Shiwangmu is the protector of a garden that has peaches that offer immortality. I think the case is the same here. Even though Oda may change it from being a peach to something else, because we know Oda likes to change things to throw it off some. And going back to Luffy and his devil fruit being Nika, I believe that Imu may be her devil fruit ability, the Hito Hito no Mi model Imu, and that she has just become known as her devil fruit power of Imu. The erasing of Lelucia Island leads me to believe that this is also what happened to God Valley, and that God Valley may be where Eni's lobby is located, the giant hole in the ground. I believe that is what Imu caused. That was an island that needed to be erased, or that was God Valley, and they placed Eni's lobby over it. This is just my theory. I was very excited when I found this. Like I said, I thought I'd cracked Oda's mind for a moment when I figured this out. I could be completely wrong, but I could be right. I would like to think I'm right just because all of this lines up so well with the characters that are in One Piece so far. And I just want to take time. I want to thank you guys for listening to my theory and what I believe the true origins of Imu and JoyBoy really are. If you liked the video, like, comment down below, and give me a subscribe. Pass the channel along to your friends. And until next time, guys, peace.